Coming up, U.S. City volunteers hand out new uniforms to help underprivileged students in Texas. We see how a group of students from Taiwan's Tunshan Elementary School is safeguarding the Chinese Mitten Crabs. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. We kick off today's program in the United States as 98% of the students from the Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary School in Dallas, Texas, come from impoverished families. Students often go a whole week without washing their school uniforms because simply many cannot afford to buy a second set of school uniforms. Upon learning of the student situation on February 21st, Dallas City volunteers arrived at the school to distribute new uniforms to 453 students.
This is not a donation, this is a love we give to you. And your love will give to somebody whatever they need.
For the students of the Henry B. Gonzalez Elementary School, the new set of uniform is such a precious gift.
We have, we're 98% low socioeconomical as far as the status of our community, and the fact that 453 of our students receive shirts, that's again giving back to the community, and that's a great support to our parents.
Using adorable puppets to grasp the students' attention, Tzu Chi volunteers show them how to maintain proper oral hygiene. And the concept of giving and receiving explained by the volunteers has been deeply rooted in their hearts.
Because I feel sad for people that need money and that need help and that don't have homes, and so I want to help them. I learned that I can trust people from the song and that there's no one that I won't love in this world.
I just felt, very appreciative of you and organizations like yours that come and give us support and help our kids to know that there's hope, and for the students that...
Tzu Chi volunteers' visit created a cycle of kindness here. In the near future, volunteers plan to implement Jingsi aphorism teachings at the school, so to continue the cycle of love. Moving to Taiwan, on the offshore island of澎湖, Tzu Chi volunteers hold monthly distribution events to help their care recipients. At a recent distribution, 11 families were able to not only receive financial subsidies, but a simple blood pressure measurement as well. Let's take a look.
高了120啦，低85，心跳88，真正常。
Upon learning that his blood pressure is normal, Tzu Chi care recipient Mr. Chen can finally relax.
Coming here, the volunteers will measure our blood pressure. When we know the state of our health, our minds will be more at peace. At the monthly distribution event,澎湖Tzu Chi volunteers presented care recipient with subsidies and a simple but important health checkup.
By measuring the blood pressure for care recipients, we'll be able to ask why their blood pressure is so low or so high, and if they have been taking their medication. Sometimes I will also pass on a few health tips. 72-year-old Hu Fan Shu Jing, who has been a nurse most of her life, never thought she would be able to put her skills to use after retirement. I bought the machine myself and printed these cards for each person. It's really not a lot of effort, and I enjoy doing it very much too.
The years of care and love means that volunteers and recipients are like one family. Mr. Chen also takes to heart Tzu Chi's message.
We should not do evil deeds, and whatever we do, we must be more mindful and moral. I'm grateful to the Tzu Chi volunteers for their help. It is quite touching. At the end of the day, volunteers thoughtfully load rice onto care recipients' vehicles, ensuring that the event ends on a warm and hopeful note. Also in Taiwan, in Zhanghua's Puyan, a solitary senior lost her monthly government subsidy over the New Year's holidays and was unable to make ends meet. Thankfully, a call to Tzu Chi was made on her behalf. When the volunteers visited the senior, they saw a cluttered home desperately in need of cleaning. Thus, they made sure to return a second time to help clean up the senior's home.
On this day, Tzu Chi volunteers mobilized over 50 volunteers to arrive at Ms. Yang's house in Zhanghua to help her declutter and clean up her home. No corner or object is left dusty once the volunteers jump into action.
The master has much wisdom you can learn from. Not only do we want to get rid of the clutter and trash in our home, but in our hearts as well.
70-year-old Ms. Yang has long wanted to clean up her home, but it proved too difficult for her to do alone. Thankfully, a local government official contacted Tzu Chi on her behalf.
She gets by on her government subsidy of $7,280. However, over the new year, she lost that money, so the village officer informed us of her situation.
Wong Cho-long is the village officer, and his dedication to helping his community members is never-ending. Helping to clean up Ms. Yang's house with Tzu Chi volunteers, Wong was inspired to sign up as a future Tzu Chi community volunteer.
I wasn't able to help much today, but I was glad to be able to offer my assistance. It feels good to see the smiles on those being helped.
Tzu Chi volunteers inspire others around them to help the less fortunate and gather like-minded individuals to walk the Bodhisattva path.
A few years ago, Tzu Chi volunteers worldwide began an initiative to watch Master Cheng Yen's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast each morning, and the latest to join them are Tzu Chi volunteers in Hong Kong. As no public transport is available so early, those who live nearby travel to the local Jingsi Hall on foot, while others will catch a ride with their fellow volunteers. Meanwhile, in Taiwan's New Taipei City, Santong Tzu Chi volunteers have been running the initiative for more than a year now. From only 10 people to now over 100 volunteers gather at the Jingsi Hall every morning to watch the show. Let's take a look. The sound of cars and bikes breaks the morning calm as Tzu Chi volunteers, some on their motorcycles, others on foot, arrive at the Sanchong Jingsi Hall to listen to Master Cheng Yen's Wisdom at Dawn broadcast. Since the initiative began, volunteers have gathered at the Tzu Chi Sanchong grounds at 4 a.m. each day. Over the past year, numbers have grown from the original 10 to now hundreds. The Buddha uses the Dharma to guide all living beings to enlightenment. The Buddha shares his insights and wisdom and guides us to our true nature. While staying in bed on a cold winter's morning may seem tempting, these volunteers remain devoted to this wisdom practice, as the morning study group brings them much spiritual fulfillment. Since I joined the Wisdom at Dawn study group, I no longer have any disturbing thoughts. I have attained inner peace and I'm carefree and content. As a result, I have become more gentle towards others. While a quarter of our 24-hour day is spent on sleep, volunteers devote the other 3 quarters to serving the greater good and cultivating their spirituality. In the early hours of the morning, Hong Kong is peaceful and tranquil. At 4 a.m., buses and subways are not operating yet, but the Kowloon Tong Jingsi Hall is already bustling with activity. Those who live nearby get there by foot, while those who live further away catch a ride with others.
We live in Ma'anshan and my car fits 8 people, so I have offered to drive everyone. The car was full today. What a blessing. We made many stops on our way here to pick up the other sisters.
Everyone arrives just in time to listen to the Master's morning teachings. Close to 60 volunteers attentively take down notes. We were all quite moved the moment we saw the Master. We saw that the Master hasn't fully recovered from her cold, so as her disciples we should be even more diligent and follow closely in the Master's footsteps. At 5 a.m., volunteers arrive one after the other at the Tzu Chi Environmental and Education Center in Quarry Bay. Sitting in the front row is 80-year-old Chen Ming Li, who never stops taking notes. Afterwards, volunteers who understand Taiwanese convey what was being said to allow others to better grasp the Master's Dharma. Some people grasp the Dharma quicker than others. Some listen to the master's teachings over and over again, but are still not able to fully comprehend their meaning. But it doesn't matter. As we absorb more of the Dharma, we will naturally be able to realize and attain the Buddha's wisdom over time.
No matter how early or how cold, nothing is impossible to a willing heart.
Following the political unrest in Zamboanga of the Philippines last September, Talon Talon National High School became the first school to shelter those affected by the event. As 3 of the school's classrooms are currently occupied by refugees, students have had their classes on the sports field instead. To help, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to set up 6 prefabricated classrooms at the school so that students can enjoy a more comfortable learning environment.
Here at the sports field of Talon Talon National High School, 14 different classes are taking place at the same time.
Now it's still early in the morning, but we have to shout, especially if it's lunchtime. We are all having our classes here, so we are competing with each other.
With 14 classes ongoing, students can barely concentrate on their lessons, while teachers are falling ill because of the difficult environment.
Most of the teachers here are getting sick already because of the dust, but that's our mission. So we have to be here with the students, we have to support them.
The armed conflict left many children with nightmares, but thankfully, teachers have been there to support the children through this difficult time.
If they were in school, they can talk to their classmates. A teacher can hear their story and at least give them psychological first aid.
At least 80% of the students of Talon Talon National High personally experienced the armed confrontation.
War is something different. When we see our own Filipinos killing each other, it's also a time of great anxiety.
Sheda shows her house, which was damaged during the armed conflict.
Mayroon bang mga cabinets noon dito.
The house is just a mess. It was flooded here and the garbage was all over the place. The roof was gone too. Back home, we could not hold back our tears because we were very sad to see our most cherished stuff taken away.
Some valuable things na nasira din, na-destroy din.
Though the gunfire has stopped, the riots are still vivid in Sheda's mind.
Yung putukan na malalakas na putukan.
I will never forget the gunfire. When we heard it, we ran immediately because we didn't want to die.
Witnessing the impermanence of life, 16-year-old Sheda once refused to go back to school.
I don't want to study anymore.
At first, I decided not to study anymore. But thinking about it, I realized there's still hope for the future. What's important is you need to get back on your feet when you face obstacles in life.
Reluctant to see the students suffer, Tzu Chi volunteers decided to build 6 prefabricated classrooms to help.
Yes, this will be a good effect and more.
Yes, with the prefab classrooms, I believe we will learn better. I hope that I can keep up with the effort and become a lawyer in the future to give back to society.
Pangarap ko sa lahat is that
to go back to the routine of what they experience in school, because school, I think, is more than just sharing with them wisdom. It gives them a sense of hope.
For children in Zamboanga, resuming their studies symbolizes the restoration of hope. In our next report, we will look into the building process of Tzu Chi's prefabricated classrooms and how the volunteers company has helped pacify the terror in children's minds.
Back to Taiwan, in New Taipei City's Dan-Shui district, a large amount of Chinese mitten crabs can be found in the area around Tunshan. However, the crab is a favorite food for many seafood lovers, thus its population has slowly declined over time. For this reason, students of the Tunshan Elementary School have started a campaign to protect the sea-shelled animal from harm. Here's more.
The story begins with a young boy and a crab. One day, 5th grader Han-Wei discovered a Chinese mitten crab on the grounds of his school.
I had never seen one before, so I asked a classmate what it was. Another classmate took it to our teacher, who said it was a Chinese mitten crab. He said he found a Chinese mitten crab there. Our teacher said we could feed it our leftovers from lunch.
Today, the teacher takes us to where Chen originally found the crab. Before Chen discovered the crab, he kept to himself. However, after, his life changed completely.
It was pretty exciting to see the students catch such a large mitten crab. After that, almost all the boys would rush over after class to see the crab.
Befriending the crab, the students took an interest in finding out more information about their new friend. Their research revealed that the crabs will lay eggs in the ocean at the end of autumn. Outside the gate is a small irrigation canal that holds the miracle of life. Inside each hole is the home of a Chinese mitten crab, and this part of the road leading to the ocean is where many of them can be found. When it comes time to lay their eggs, students will follow behind the female crabs to ensure their safety. Although this isn't the season for crabs to lay eggs, students are on a field trip nevertheless to study the path that the crabs will take.
这个地方叫做什么？这个也是毛蟹要去海里面的路。那看到它一路上会遇到的
The Chinese mitten crab will encounter many traps along their way to the ocean. Their path is blocked by cages.
都给堵住了。
To save their crustacean friends, the students have started a movement to deliver the mitten crabs to the ocean, bypassing all the deadly traps along the way. They even made a skit to inform others to help instead of eating the crabs.
后来的母毛蟹会在海岸来时，用力将腹中的卵产于海中。
His meeting with a Chinese mitten crab has completely changed Chen Han-Wei's life. Now he has many friends, and his stories are just beginning.
Recently, Taiwan's Kaohsiung team members and Tzu Chi volunteers went to Liu Gui districts to offer needy patients medical assistance. This time, they not only taught local residents how to maintain oral hygiene, but also gave seniors who suffer from cardiovascular disease and high blood pressure a thorough health check.
Early morning, local residents of Kaohsiung's Liu Gui are waiting for the free medical service offered by Tzu Chi. Some volunteers are on site to help TIMA members prepare medical equipment, while others join in house calls with a group of medical personnel.
He had
gallstone before. Recently, he started coughing. He is taking the medication prescribed by our local health center.
In Laonong of Liu Gui, senior residents have found it difficult to get access to health care due to transportation and insufficient medical resources. To help, Tzu Chi volunteers and TIMA members find their way into this remote area, providing much-needed medical services.
When the temperatures drop, he often becomes asthmatic and starts coughing.
During the house calls, TIMA doctors carefully check on seniors' medical history before hitting the road again to visit the next household. Despite the rough journey ahead, the volunteers said they will continue their efforts in safeguarding the health of the general public.
Over the past 3 decades, Yang Yongda and his family have sponsored 14 children through Taiwan's Fund for Children and Family. Last year, Yang was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and checked into the palliative ward shortly after his condition worsened. With the help of Tzu Chi volunteers, the children he has sponsored over the years was finally able to meet the man who has been supporting them.
Seeing the person who has sponsored her for all these years lie weakly on the hospital bed, Xiaofeng can no longer hold back her tears.
Thank you for all your help in the past years.
It's nothing. I'm just helping a little. Don't think about it too much.
In the past 30 years, 56-year-old Yang Yongda and his family have sponsored 14 children through the Taiwan Fund for Children and Family. Last year, Yang was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and checked into the palliative care ward when his condition worsened. Knowing his heart lies with the children he has sponsored, Tzu Chi volunteers asked if he wanted to meet them.
He held my hand and said, please tell them I'm sick, but don't require them to visit me, only if they have time.
Upon learning of the situation, 17-year-old Xiaofeng took a day off from school to visit.
Study hard in school, and you will easily succeed in the future.
The Taiwan Fund for Children and Family also presented a certificate to recognize Yang's 30 years of sponsorship.
It's really a contribution of love. It's a very important cycle of love for the society.
At his sickbed, his sponsored child vows to study hard, and in the future, Xiaofeng plans to give back to society, thus starting a new cycle of love.
In Taiwan's Kaohsiung, to give unwanted items a second lease on life, 13 students and teachers of the Tzu University put their creativity to the test and transformed discarded bedsheets, unwanted fabrics, and table mats into beautiful clothing.
Could you have ever guessed that this beautiful gown with spiral patterns was made from an unwanted bedsheet?
We were going to recycle this fabric, but I thought maybe we can create something beautiful from it. We decided to do a draping design. The bottom over here flows down nicely.
With creativity, even discarded bed sheets can be turned into a beautiful gown. Whether it is a t-shirt, a skirt with a tank top, after tailoring and stitching, an eco-friendly and fashionable shirt can be created.
There are many types of eco-fashion. We can turn second-hand items into new household decorations.
Things such as plastic can be recycled and turned into useful items, not just clothing.
This piece over here is made from table mats. I incorporated the color of black and white while the fabric on the back hangs down smoothly.
Eco-fashion should not be about using natural materials, but designers should also try to use their creativity to transform second-hand items into fashionable apparel, thus giving unwanted materials a second lease on life.
We go to China at the end of our show. Tzu Chi first set foot in Hanwang of Sichuan province following the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake to help quake survivors rebuild their homes. Today, the seeds of love have blossomed as a group of senior volunteers have become devoted to recycling work each day, come rain or shine. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.